so we don't go the same way we go.
If you're just talking about one thing, then I think we really need to pay attention to the situations that are facing the Tenderloin, because all of those things impact McMarket.
Situations.
Sorry. Well, the concentration of social services, the basically putting everything that nobody else in the city wants in one location, then therefore placing all of the burden in one little neighborhood. So a neighborhood that has families, has seniors, has disabled, is not able to really thrive because it's constantly dealing with a lot of the consequences of the oversaturation of social services. The rest of the city really needs to take some of that responsibility. We're a benevolent city, and the whole city should take that on.
One thing I would like to see the elimination of SRO hotel rooms. I'm all for low-income housing, but the SRO model is based in the group housing part of the planning code rather than, and is considered a hotel room rather than in the housing code. We need to give people housing with dignity, and for starters that includes cooking facilities and bathroom facilities in every single room. So I would be happy if not one more SR hotel room is ever built again. Talk about gentrification of District 6. I would like to see District 6 gentrified, but from the ground up, from the lowest income level upwards. If we were, what we should do for the next 4 years is concentrate on improving the low-income housing, creating housing with some dignity, and gradually working our way up the economic ladder.
The one thing that I would want to change in Mid-Market and 6th Street is a vacant storefront initiative. I think ground floor retail is a really important part of activating neighborhoods and streets. They contribute to local jobs, they contribute to foot traffic, and increased safety on the streets, and then of course more attention from neighborhood services and our police as well. We've started to see it on 6th Street. The change is still slow to come, but vacancy rates have been reduced from 43% on the ground floor to 10% currently. And restaurants like Passion Cafe hire 80% of their employees within 6-block radius of their restaurants, and that's the kind of business that we want to see. Folks that are hiring locally in the neighborhood, but also activating the ground floor. I think it's also important that some of the retail space also be reserved for more common areas, because there are a lot of SRO hotels in that neighborhood that can be spaces where people can be indoors as well, whether it's a rec space or rooftop gardens in some of those SRO buildings, so that people don't just have to be on the streets as a place to hang out or be with their, or to be outside of their 8x10 one-room residential apartments.
One thing is kind of a lot to ask for sort of moving forward some big change along these streets, but I will say that there is a lot that's already happening, some of which is working. We do have actually a vacant storefronts initiative that we put through the Department of Building Inspection, where there's fines that are issued for vacant properties. It's working in the neighborhoods, and we're starting to revisit that to actually discourage people to leave storefronts empty, because blight and all of the accompanying sort of crime and some of the stuff that we're seeing along 6th and Market Street happens primarily where there are vacant storefronts. We are forwarding through the Mayor's Office of Economic and Workforce Development a priority on arts uses, including funding for storefronts right along Market Street for programs like Hospitality House, which are programs aimed at homeless artists so that they can come in and have a place to do their work with materials and studio space. That actually gets people off the street, and it's happening in conjunction with the luggage store gallery on Market Street. But we also need to really come together to support community policing, to get police walking the beats, talking with their neighbors, learning who the neighbors are and what the neighborhood character and culture is, so that we can actually learn to trust each other and all be part of creating safer streets. So better planning, better communication and response and relationships with our police force, I think would go a long way towards forwarding some of the actual policies that we are doing right now.
Many people don't realize, but 6th Street is actually a neighborhood. There are people that have been living in those SROs for 5, 10, 15 or more years. They've been warehoused there, left in this little 6x6 room with just a sink and a bed, and many of the belongings that they've held on to for most of their lives. I made it a point in my campaign to make sure that we move people through the system, that people are not warehoused, that people are not treated as cattle, that they are treated with dignity. So yes, I would see people moved into an apartment building, see those SRO units refurbished, renovated, and then see people from from the streets or from homeless shelters moved in, and that way we can start to clean the streets. And yes, I do feel that services are vital to not only this neighborhood, but other neighborhoods in San Francisco. I probably wouldn't be here without the services that San Francisco has provided, and neither would a lot of the other people who live in this district also. So yes, that's one of the things that I would do to see that corridor renovated, is to start moving people through the system. Thank you very much.
Well, I wish that there was one problem that 6th Street and Mid-Market had. Because if there was one problem, then we could do one thing to solve it. There's a lot of problems, obviously, but I do think that what Elaine said, and what Jim said especially, make a lot of sense in terms of not concentrating services in one area, and then also in not building more SROs and requiring that we have, that if people are going to live here, they have to live with dignity. So, but then my one thing, if I could add one more thing to that, would be looking at the Mid-Market area. We have an opportunity to clean it up or to improve it significantly with the new City Place development. They want to put a mall for general, not high-end stores, low-end stores, but that could transform the block between 5th and 6th Street on Market Street. It's on the south side of Market Street. Right now, all those buildings are vacant. They're boarded up. That's not healthy. That's not good for the neighborhood. So in addition to all the other suggestions, many of which I agree with also, I would say that it's very important to move forward with that project to improve the neighborhood slowly, do it block by block, but that's the only way it's going to happen.
Thank you.